Say, you have a baby, oh my God, slow you down, shut your whole life down. No, my life just started. My son had a better relationship with my mom because she was his mother. Anybody that gets into that industry knows that when you're grinding, you're spending a lot more money than you're making. My life did turn into just one big party. Just right. Fair and style, you got it like. From the hustle to the heart, she's been through it all. Empowering women, she's standing tall. Nobody knows my full story. Nobody. My parents only, my father knows damn near nothing. My mother only knew what I told her. You know what I'm saying? None of my siblings were with me. My brothers and Talena was the only one that can attest to this chapter. The rest of them don't know any of this because they were too young. You know what I'm saying? So really, nobody knows my entire story. So this is chapter 2. I got pregnant at 19. I went to Job Corps after I went to Southern Connecticut State University for a year. And then that summer, I went to Job Corps. The idea was to get a certification in business clerical so I can get a better job while I was in Southern. That was the idea. And I was also trying to isolate myself so that I can get over my high school sweetheart. I went to go get in Job Corps because I was told we could stay on campus. And I felt like that was going to give me some time. And then once I get my business clerical license, I can go back to Southern and work a better job while I'm in school. But that didn't happen. I got there and met my son's father. We were dating for 2 months. And then I got pregnant with him. I actually went into the clinic for just a normal checkup. And they said, "You're pregnant." And I said, "What?" I mean, I wasn't really I wasn't scared or nervous or anything, but it was a shock. I never thought about terminating the pregnancy. Nope. Never. He was excited. I was his first love. So, his first kid too. Yes, his first kid too. So, he was excited. He was there the whole time I was pregnant. He was there. He was in culinary arts. So he would come over and cook for me every single day. I liked him at the time. So I was like, guess what? We're about to have a baby. He was excited. He was excited. He was 20. So we were both young. He was in there because he was a convicted felon. And he had to go to Job Corps. It definitely was a shock. And I had just found out maybe 2 weeks before that, my sister was pregnant. So that was weird. We were pregnant at the same time. I wasn't even afraid. It was just, I think I wasn't afraid because, again, my sister was pregnant. I just found out she was pregnant. So I'm like, okay, we're pregnant together. Talena, the one right under me. And then my mom is so, understanding. So I wasn't scared to get in trouble. And then I graduated from school. I felt like I graduated from high school, I was like, this is just where I'm at. Everybody else was like, what the heck is Tanya going to do with a baby? Because I was always the one that was running around to and fro. I, wouldn't sit still. I probably would have been the last one they would expect to have a child. So it was a little weird. But I was just like, you know what? I knew people were talking. Even when we would go to about, us being so young. And then my father's kids, we already felt like the outcast in our family. So, when we got pregnant, we would go around and you could feel when people are judging, you know what I mean? But I was mouthy. So nobody was going to say anything to me. You know what I mean? Nobody was going to check me. They wouldn't do that. But talking about me, absolutely. I'm pretty sure. So, yeah. My family, my mom was like, it is what it is. My father didn't say a whole lot. His mother was like, well, boy, you know what you got to do. So both our families were okay. It wasn't no, crazy, people upset and, you know what I mean? It wasn't like that. He went to jail right after I had him, before he was 1. Yep, before he was 1, he went to jail. But we had broken up when I was 8 months pregnant. I had broke up with him at 8 months pregnant. And then he ended up getting locked up for 8 years. So my son didn't know him. Yeah, so that was crazy. It was fine for me. Like, I was over him anyway. I didn't feel like he was a good example anyway. So it was like, you out here wilding, So I mean, at that time, it didn't affect me really. He went in, he would write him all the time. I didn't do jail calls and visits and none of that. We were already broken up, so I wasn't doing any of that. I did bring the baby around to see his family while he was locked up, from time to time. I realized later when him and I had a conversation that, he actually was very upset when I broke up with him. He was very upset when he went to jail and I wasn't doing no calls or visits, none. I don't do none of that. No, like when I met him, he was literally a rebound. Like I was trying to get over my high school sweetheart. So, no, he didn't know that. He was the cutest guy on the campus, or he was pretty popular or whatever on the campus. And that's how that happened. I never had the urge to be like the baby mother. You know what I'm saying? Like the crazy baby mother, or I'm pulling strings because I'm the baby mother. I didn't want any of that drama. Like, you do you and I'm going to do me. But he didn't want me to do me. You get what I'm saying? So, right. And not for nothing, like after my high school sweetheart, love, I really was playing games. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. So I was just like, and again, he lied a lot. So I don't even know what's true for real. So, but he wrote his, that's why it was so weird because he was there for me my entire pregnancy. He was there when I had my son. I had him on Father's Day. He came to the hospital. He was there. Even when he got locked up, he would write him every week, draw him pictures and everything. But when I wasn't picking up calls and I wasn't writing and I wasn't, you know what I'm saying? And then he would hear about me in there because now I'm starting to be in New York and build a reputation. Yeah, so he's watching my videos, he's hearing, you know what I'm saying, about the Feds magazine, and he's hearing I'm a stripper. So now he's really like, you know what I mean? So he does not have a relationship with him still. His father. He came home. I was about to go to cosmetology school, so I was going to have to send my son back here with my parents. So I asked his father, I'm like, I know you just got home, so I know you don't have any money or anything like that, but if you could just help them out with keeping him sometimes, while I go through this program, then that would be more than enough help. You know what I mean? And he pretty much told me he didn't think he could do that. So that made me furious because I'm like, you've been gone for 8 years and you can't keep him from time to time. Yeah, that was a whole nother situation. Then he popped up and wanted me to do a paternity test, which I didn't have a problem. I went for child support because at this point I'm like, I can't even get you to give him some time. All right, I went for child support. The judge granted it, and he was saying that he wanted a test, but I wouldn't give it to him. And the judge was like, "Well, you signed the birth certificate. You're the father. Whatever test y'all want to do, y'all do that on your own time." So this is where it get crazy. I didn't have a problem with that because my thing was whatever I had to do to make you comfortable enough to come around and be in his life, I'm with it. I don't care. Well, we agreed to do the paternity test, a home one. So he brings me the test, swabs him and everything, right? Sends the test out. I get an email with the results saying he's 99% not the father. I keep scrolling and I see the father's name which was the first name of this guy that we used to call our brother and the last name of my high school sweetheart. So he went and swabbed someone else and put the test in. Crazy. Yep. And I called him and cussed him out. And I did not let my son go around, because if you can go through to that extreme over some child support, I don't know what you'll do. He popped back up. At the time when that all happened, I was married. And my youngest son's father was very insecure. So, he already didn't want my oldest son's father around at all anyway. So that just made it that much easier for me to tell him to get lost. But then he popped back up for his 8th grade graduation, and I allowed him to come. And he came. Stuck around for maybe a couple months, then disappeared again. But he paid his child support on time, all them years. Yep. And he had a good job, so I got a pretty good amount. And then he popped up at his high school graduation. He did help me buy him a car for his graduation. He was paying his cell phone bill. They haven't talked since Dutta graduated from high school, like that year after. Maybe once or twice, but no relationship. They say, you have a baby, oh my God, slow you down, shut your whole life down. No, my life just started. It was hot girl summer, winter, spring, fall. Listen, my mother was a real MVP, okay? Because she kept the babies while we went out. She kept the babies while we went out. Me and my sister was able to get it all out of our system because she would keep the babies while we went out. I would party. I used to take Talena out with me everywhere. That's the one that's right under me. We're a year apart. I used to take her to the clubs with me. We used to go everywhere as moms. We were the turned up moms. But I always had to take it a notch further. Always. So, yeah. She would come to New York and club with me too, but when it was time for me to go out there on a mission, I'd go by myself. Because I knew she couldn't keep up, and that wasn't her, yeah. Like, I just had a way of moving and making things happen. I couldn't really have nobody with me that didn't know how to do that. You know what I mean? My son had a better relationship with my mom because she was his mother. So that made me feel some type of way until I started really realizing, like, girl, one, I was thankful that it was my mom that he had the relationship with. And two, he didn't resent me for leaving, but that's who was there for him. So instead of me getting upset with him, because I used to get upset with him, I stopped getting upset. And I did explain to him why I felt how I felt, but I understand. So yeah, if I could do things different, I would have. My mom was strong. And even though we had our father in the house, she was the parent. So I watched her parent all 5 of us by herself. And I kind of feel like I have that same, that same thing in me. Like, I'm always going to do the most. I honestly believe, just from conversations, that she was like living through me almost. She got married at 19. All her dreams were done. She got married at 19, started popping kids out at 21. And she was not even a housewife, but she was a wife and mother away from home. All her dreams was done of being a hairstylist, of being a dancer. We're done. Like, at the time, I'm just like, I just gotta go do this. But when I think back, I'm like, I'm pretty sure subconsciously I was like, this ain't gonna be my life. Like, I'm gonna do one of them dreams. Now, it would have been nice to take some of the, be able to rely on them for some things, but I've always just been the type of person that whatever I need, I'm just gonna get. I'm not gonna like beg for it. I'm just gonna go get it. I'm just gonna go do it. It doesn't make me feel, it's not a strain. It feels normal. It feels natural. It doesn't feel like, dang, now I gotta do this because, you know what I mean? It's very seldom that I actually think about the fact that their fathers aren't around. I honestly believe, just from conversations, that she was like living through me almost. She got married at 19. All her dreams were done. She got married at 19, started popping kids out at 21, and she was not even a housewife, but she was a wife and mother away from home. All her dreams was done of being a hairstylist, of being a dancer. We're done. Like at the time, I'm just like, I just gotta go do this. But when I think back, I'm like, I'm pretty sure subconsciously I was like, this ain't gonna be my life. Like, you know, I'm gonna do one of them dreams. I always saw myself like on a big screen or just something big. I didn't know quite what it was. Just something, an entertainer. Like I love entertainment. Again, I love to dance. So I actually want to be a choreographer for stars. So I don't know if you remember Fatima, who used to choreograph for Aaliyah. Well, she choreographed for everybody, but I thought I was gonna be the next Fatima. So I thought, well, you know what? I need to start going to the city because that's how I'm gonna get discovered. And so I started taking trips to the city, going to the clubs, hanging out by myself, meeting people. And one night I went to this club. We was clubbing all weekend. And then that day we went to a club in New Haven. Then we went to a club in Norwalk. Then we went to a club in New York. And at that club, it was a 3-story club called Speed. And they used to have artists performing. So I ended up meeting this guy who performed that night. And, we were talking, we exchanged numbers. And then I talked to him probably like a few days later and told him what I was trying to do. So he invited me to this industry barbecue in Queens where there's a lot of like casting directors. It was actually hosted by a casting director. There were some artists there. I met Fabulous that day. I met Tweet. It was a few people. I don't remember everybody, but it was a few people there. I was trying not to be starstruck. So, you know what I'm saying? I was chilling like I belong there. So I wasn't trying to be one of their face. But it was a lot of like behind the scenes people, producers and stuff like that. So I actually met the modeling agency that I started working for, modeling with, at that cookout. They scouted me there. And then I met like 2 other directors and one of them actually put me in my first music video shortly after that. So that's how I entered into that industry, the video vixen life. So in my mind, I want to make life better for him. So I have to go chase my dream. That's in my mind, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking it's a small sacrifice for what I'm gonna be able to give him. But I felt like that was my way in. Ultimately the entertainment industry, to be an entertainer. Yeah, I mean, I was in girl groups, R&B groups, so I just knew I needed to get my foot in the door. You know what I mean? And then I'll meet somebody that'll see my talent and help develop me as whatever, artist, whatever. I just know exactly what. I know dance was my passion. I knew I could sing. I knew I had stage presence. I'm like, I can do something. I got it. I could do it. I just need somebody else to see me. So I knew it wasn't going to happen here. So to me, like I said, it was a small sacrifice. Tell my mom, I'm about to go do this audition, or I'm about to do this shoot, or I got studio, and she just take them. I feel like she would have supported me anyway. That's just how she is. But she knew that I was striving to become something. Like I would come home and let them hear the songs. You know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't like I was out there doing nothing. I just was out there a lot. Yeah, I really was trying to make something of myself. And then once I got into the dance life, which came about from being in that industry, the entertainment industry, I would send money, back or come home and bring money, to take care of whatever, the daycare expenses or whatever. So I never left her having to like financially take care of things. You know what I mean? But yeah, things just took a lot longer than I expected. Like I just thought that I didn't know what to expect, but I just thought it was gonna be a little easier than it was. And then I didn't mean to detour. But anybody that gets into that industry knows that when you're grinding, you're spending a lot more money than you're making. So that ended up being the case. All my little money from work was going towards my travel and then my look, because I can't be out there looking crazy. So, so then when I was introduced to dancing in the club, I'm like, oh, well, I mean, at least I can make more money quicker. But now it started looking like I'm just out here having fun. Because my life did turn into just one big party. You know what I'm saying? That's the industry. Right. So nobody here would understand that, though. Like, they don't understand. It just look like I'm out here just lit, doing my own thing, having a ball. And you got jealous people. Like, they like, she out there doing her thing. Because that's what it looks like. But they have no idea that I'm really trying to set things up for my son, for a better situation for my son. I didn't want to just be working at Walgreens or, I didn't want that for him. Like, I want to get rich. I want to get this money. I want to be an icon for my son. Okay, so not only did I have a child, but remember I said I felt like my dad didn't want me there. So now it's like, I got to get me and my son out. You know what I mean? So I was going to figure it out anyway, but now it's me and him that got to go. Like, I don't want him to feel how I feel either. I was going to make it work. If this avenue didn't work, I was going to try something else. You see, I did. I did not have no doubt. Like, I just knew it was something was going to come out of what I was doing. I mean, later on, we'll talk about at the point where I'm like, you got to be kidding me. But, I was used to things always working out, always working out for me. If you are becoming a young mom, it's no longer about you. It's no longer just about you. Like, every decision you do have to consider your child and how they're going to feel. They're human beings. How it's going to affect them when they get older. You know what I'm saying? Yes, it's great to want to pursue your career or whatever the case may be, but you cannot neglect them in the process. You will definitely, it could be worse. My situation wasn't that bad, but it could be worse. You know what I'm saying? I had grace in that area, thank God. But every decision you make has to be based on your child. But if you can avoid it, don't do it.
Just only thing you touch is shining bright. Fake flair style, shit you gotta like. From the hustle to the heart, she's been through it all. Empowering women, she's standing tall. Her journey's real, her story's true. It's on your D.Jackson, show us